Welcome back to the Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is Robbie here again, as always, joined by Snail on the other end of the line, and we have a few Penguins games to catch up on here with a recap episode going back to last week when they returned home from a four-game Western Conference road trip. We have to talk about their games against Chicago, the New York Rangers, and then this evening they played the Ottawa Senators. All three games were at home. Their final homestand before the Olympic break. They do have two games left before the break commences. But before we get into all the details of these hockey games, joined as always, as I mentioned, by Snell, who is out in Seattle. And that city is getting ready for a rather big contest in about 6 days' time. The Super Bowl featuring the Seattle Seahawks being one of the teams there. So, Snail, what's the vibe out there in the Pacific Northwest this week?
Dude, vibes are high. I think my vibes are not high. I've been incredibly ill. I've been just simmering with a fever for a couple days now, and just sweating like constantly, just a little sweaty. So I'm looking forward to it though, and I know that the general consensus is pretty optimistic, man. Like, Robbie, you pay attention to football, that's kind of like one of your main things you probably like to do. You're out there in Pittsburgh. Football is a huge culture thing out there. I get it. But I mean, I think the general consensus is, like optimism. Like the Patriots didn't necessarily have the hardest playoff to get there, to get to the Super Bowl. The Seahawks have been, there's been some chirps that maybe they weren't like a legit one seed this year. I don't know. I thought that they were they got the record they needed for the one seed. I'm pretty sure that makes you a one seed, but I think they played pretty well. Like I think Darnold's balled out, man. Like
I can't blame the Seahawks faithful for feeling confident. I think even as a neutral fan, I would feel confident if I were a Seahawks fan as well. I definitely think that, I'm going to be pulling for the Seahawks on Sunday. I am not a Patriots fan by any means, even a little bit. So, I'm pulling for the Seahawks. A lot of likable guys on that team, starting with the quarterback and Sam Darnold, the head coach, Mike McDonald, seems like a stand-up guy as well. Kenneth Walker, and then they've kind of recreated that mid-2010s Legion of Boom type defense as well. They're a very well-rounded team. I'm definitely excited for Sunday. I always look forward to the Super Bowl regardless of who's playing in it because
it's like a holiday.
It is, and it's just it's turned into such a cultural event in and of itself. It has its own gravity around it, even for neutral observers if they aren't football fans. But as a football fan, I look forward to it every year. Sad that the season's coming to an end, but that just means that hockey season will be kicking into to a higher gear, kind of. It won't be. By the time the Super Bowl is played, we'll already be a few days into the NHL's Olympic break, which begins on Thursday. The Penguins play Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into looking forward to those games, a few games to catch up on here. We'll start with Chicago, which was on last Thursday. I believe that was the 29th. They returned home from a 4-game Western Canada / Seattle road trip where the Penguins went 4-0. They swept that series. They are riding high at this point, and they had a couple days off to kind of get their feet back under them, get some rest, let the jet lag wear off a little bit. And in a condensed schedule, you don't always get those kind of breaks, especially this late in the season. So they took advantage of that, and they come out and absolutely bull rush the Blackhawks in this one. And the Blackhawks, obviously not a great hockey team by any stretch of the imagination, but the Penguins over the years had really struggled against Chicago, even when Taves and Kane were kind of on the back end of their prime. The really good Crosby years, they just had a really difficult time with Chicago, especially in Chicago. But within a month, they played Chicago out of the Christmas break and basically wrap up January. And they, in both games, they outscored them a combined 13-5 in these two hockey games, winning both very handily. And coming off a long road trip like that, you're riding high, you're winning. Sometimes that can lead to a letdown. But the Penguins they just picked up where they left off and kept rolling right along and made it 5 in a row with this win over Chicago.
Yeah, that was as the kids say, belt to ass.
Yeah, it was. It was.
It was. That Chicago game, man. Bedard scores for them. He's kind of their only guy right now. I think they've got some young pieces. I think they were hoping to really take a step this year, but I don't know, man. It's just as panning out as it seems like it's another one of those seasons for Chicago Blackhawks. But Bedard had a nasty goal in this one. Props to that kid. He had a shoulder separation, I believe, a couple months ago, and he's back and rocking. But yeah, I mean, I think they had a defenseman score in the first period. Connor Murphy, kind of a stay-at-home defenseman type guy. He gets his third of the year. But you look at the Penguins' goal scorers in this game, and this is what, this team, you should beat this team. The Penguins are in a position now where this isn't a team where it should be going to overtime or a shootout. The Blackhawks, this should be a good dub that you don't really have to stress about. And it was exactly that. Connor Dewar gets a couple, or does he get one? He gets a couple goals. Ryan Shea continuing to have just a sick season, dude. This guy he's a good defenseman, man. He's really starting to kind of blossom, and this is kind of his breakout year. I think people are noticing. And then you've got Chinnikov, his 9th of the year. Kendall gets his 11th. It's just it's something that the Penguins haven't had in a long time, and one of the reasons they've been successful this year is you're getting scoring throughout the lineup. The new guys, the young guys, the older guys, the top 6, bottom 6, it doesn't matter. And when you get that kind of scoring, and the other thing the Penguins have this year that, we can get to this later, but, Tristan Jarry was pulled the other night. And I think some Oilers fans are starting to, I hope they're starting to feel like I have at times over the years, where you're trying to connect dots and make excuses, and all of a sudden Jarry's got you in a mental pretzel, and you're like, it was that good or bad? The Penguins are getting goaltending. And, whether it's Shelovs or whether it's Skinner, you don't have a bad option in net right now. Not just something that the Penguins have had for a long time, but I would say 80% of the National Hockey League doesn't have that. Where you don't have it's a coin flip as to who you would rather have in net.
Yeah, I mean, and I kind of advocated for Skinner to get 2 of every 3 starts, but credit Dan. Credit Dan Muse. He's sticking with the every other night, every other game rotation between Shelovs and Skinner, and Shelovs is proving me wrong on that. Shelovs has been, him and Skinner are clearly 1A, 1B. It is really no difference between them. And the big question with Shelovs was, how would he do in an extended look in the NHL?
Right.
Because he had been okay in limited work. He was good in that playoff series a couple years ago against Edmonton, almost stole that series for the Canucks, but he had never gotten an extended run. And he starts the season as they kind of ran this every other game thing from the beginning. And he had a stretch in December where kind of the whole team kind of fell apart for a while, but he has bounced back in a terrific way. And I do wonder how much having a guy like Skinner as compared to Jarry, because Skinner obviously is playing for a contract. Jarry was playing basically for a lot. Jarry, you just did not know what the future held for Tristan.
What was Jarry playing for?
Yeah, I mean, not to get traded, maybe. I don't know.
To stay in the National Hockey League?
To stay, maybe to finally prove himself. Skinner obviously is playing for a contract, but he doesn't really have to prove himself to the level Jarry does, being a guy that's taken his team to the Stanley Cup final the past 2 seasons with the Oilers. But he comes over and he kind of settles that entire goaltending situation, even at his age. And I think that helps Shelovs as well. It just settles him as well. The pressure doesn't seem to be on Shelovs as much anymore. Skinner is playing. We'll talk about him more, but he's playing at that high level again as well. And yeah, I think the goaltending has been such a Achilles heel for the Penguins, even when like good goaltending wouldn't have necessarily helped get to the playoffs. It still just made everything so much more difficult. Right. And just having that kind of assuredness in net. And these guys are still guys that are both on the younger side. They're both under 30. It just makes, when there is a defensive breakdown, you have that little bit of insurance now that you don't feel quite as down. Like, you don't feel quite the fear of when, like, they cough up the puck, like, oh boy, who knows what's going to happen in goal here. You feel a little bit better about a guy like Sheeloff or Skinner is going to bail them out. And they really have a lot in this stretch. They've really bailed out the team when it's been needed. The defense has played well, but when there is a breakdown, Sheeloff and Skinner have been right there to answer the bell more times than not. And it's been a revelation for the Penguins. And I'm sure every fan is just like going out in the rain and just like, oh, thank you. Finally we have somebody in net that I have at least some confidence in.
Yeah, man. And I don't know if you wanted to get into it, but like, I mean, I don't know if you had much left to say about the Blackhawks game, but we're talking about that, like they play the Rangers next, and it was like the ceremony. They had Mr. Game 1 there for the ceremony for the 2016 Cup win. They had speaking of goalies, Mr. Game 1. You wonder if Sully looks across the bench there and goes, I wouldn't have mind having a couple of goalies when I was my last year there in Pittsburgh. You wonder if he thought that at all?
I mean, Sullivan, he hasn't really had like a guy since like Fleury left. Like Murray just didn't ever develop into the guy we thought he was going to be. And then it was kind of musical chairs back there. Then it came to Jari, and he was either hurt or collapsing or why. And now he goes to New York, where he has maybe the best
and quick.
Yeah, he has like two really good goalies, and the team around him is the team that was built and given to him is in a free for all, and they're selling off parts about as fast as they can now. So yeah, it's definitely it's got to be a little interesting looking over and seeing that. And again, it was a nice ceremony. I'm glad that Sullivan, again, the second he got another nice ovation. I do wonder if next year, if they'll do it against the Rangers again, a 2017 Stanley Cup reunion. But no, it was not. Connor Sherry wasn't dressed for the game, but he got his moment as well to get a nice ovation back in Pittsburgh. A huge part, especially of that 2016 run. Big goals. Brian Rust, who's suspended, still got to be on the ice. And then a lot of familiar faces. Tom Kuhnhackl was back. Chris Kunitz. Obviously, Pittsburgh loves Chris Kunitz. Jeff Zakoff, who should never have to buy a drink in Pittsburgh ever again.
Never.
Simply
Ever.
For that one game. Ben Lovejoy was there. And, of course, no fan's ever going to say no to seeing Marc-Andre Fleury back in Pittsburgh as well. So, no, great to see those guys back. And, again, great ceremony. And then they had to still play a game. And for about 50 minutes, again, belt to ass in this hockey game for the Penguins. Ben Kindle stays hot in this game with a goal. Again, the depth scoring comes through again. Mantha has one. Is this the game that Chinnikov had one wiped off, or was that the Blackhawk game? I can't remember exactly.
It was. I can't remember if it was this one or not. But Achari had 2 goals.
Achari had 2 goals in this game. Yeah, the depth scoring 2 games in a row here comes through, and they get another win, another big win.
It got dicey there for a second.
It did. The last 10 minutes was not great. They gave up, I think, 3 goals in the third period, maybe 4. It wasn't as clean a third period as I would have liked in that situation, even with a comfortable lead. Kind of giving me flashbacks to December there a little bit. Yeah, they got a little loose. Not Skinner's best performance. There's probably one or two he wishes he would have had back. In the end, they do get a win. They make it 6 in a row. A big win over another Metro team. They've only lost one game in regulation to Metro teams this year. They've already surpassed their win total against Metro teams from last year. And they get out and take care of business, and that's really the key factor here is just getting wins, banking points as much as possible. This is a big stretch. You want momentum going into the break. March is a tough schedule, and it's always fun to beat the Rangers. And it was kind of a nice cherry on top of what was a celebration night for the team. You had some of the old guys in the locker room after the game taking pictures and celebrating with the guys. Lemieux was there as well. Jim Rutherford, it was great to see Rutherford. He looks really happy, which is shocking considering the state of the team that he is currently operating up in British Columbia. But it was a very fun night. And I do believe that somebody asked Mike Sullivan after the game about the constant criticism that he faced about not playing young guys.
Someone asked him that?
I believe somebody asked him that about when he was in Pittsburgh, he wouldn't play the young guys. And he said something to the effect of, we never really had the young talent that they do now when I was there. But he did praise Ben Kindle as well. He said Ben Kindle is a special player. But overall, dicey at the end of that game, but everything into that night with the celebration and basically beating the brakes off the Rangers for the most part, that makes a good Saturday night. Afternoon night.
Yeah, it was an afternoon game. I watched it on a replay, I'll admit, but I watched the whole thing. Got a little dicey. Yeah, kind of reminds you. It felt a little different, I will say, just from when I watched the breakdowns of some of those goals there at the end of the game, it was kind of like puck luck. Like one of them, like Kulak's stick was angled a certain way and a puck deflects in. Skinner, he is allowed to give up a goal here and there that's just beat clean, and I think that happened maybe once or twice. But I mean, I knew what the score was. Like I'd seen what the score had been. And it was getting down to like the 7-minute mark of the third. And I'm like, when is this going to fall apart? Like, I feel like even until that point, like maybe 5 or 6 minutes left in the game, the Penguins were like, Ben Kindle got an empty netter. I was like, when does this, was that a glitch that I saw? But then sure enough, the ice tilted. It felt like it was a little bit downhill for them, but they hang on. They don't go to overtime or anything like that, and they don't give the Rangers, a point or whatever. And that's what you want. They closed it out, and I think that this schedule with this team, it's a lot of games. Like how many games have they played? Like 52 games, 51 games, or something like that so far on the season, and it's February 2nd.
Yeah,
I mean it's a veteran team for the most part, so you just know that this is like these guys are tired, man, and you can tell. And we'll get into the game tonight. I didn't know how they were going to play the Sens, and I could tell there's some fatigue going on with this squad. I mean, it's a lot of games. They've been at home. They just came off of a road swing that we mentioned where they swept the road trip. I mean, it's a lot of travel, and you got 38 and 39-year-olds out there, doing their best. So, but yeah, man, if you want to get into the Ottawa game that we just witnessed tonight.
And when you win 6 in a row and you're on this kind of heater, you're probably due for a dud after a while, and that's what we got tonight.
And fortunately, let's just say this: the duds of this season are not the duds of season before.
No, they're very, very, there's a lot in between the duds of this season. It's been a long time since the Penguins, I would say, played a true dud of a hockey game. Even their losses, maybe Boston back on the 11th, maybe we'll call that one a dud. They didn't score in that one. But even
I didn't think anyone was going to score in that one.
Yeah, even when they lost to Tampa Bay and Columbus, like they still looked like those were good effort hockey games. Tonight, it was bad. They were on the back foot most of the night. They do score. to take the lead, though. Igor Chinnikov makes it 1-0. He stays really, really hot. But then they just kind of flatlined. And Artur Shilov's, we talked about the goaltending earlier. Shilov's was absolutely about the only guy who looked like he had much interest, and thank goodness he was interested, unlike most of his teammates tonight. He stands on his head. Ottawa eventually does make it 2-1 in the third period, and when they went up 2-1, I thought that might have been the game right there. I really didn't have much hope. They didn't look like they had any life. But Tommy Novak does tie it, his 10th of the year. And I thought maybe, and with the Islanders losing tonight, maybe they could get it to overtime, just squeeze a point out of a game like this. But unfortunately, Ottawa scores with about 5 minutes left. And then the Penguins don't have an answer this time. And their winning streak gets snapped at 6. Ottawa wins 3-2. And yeah, it just wasn't a good performance. There's no real way to sugarcoat it. Definitely some fatigue. There are definitely some guys that could definitely use the break coming up. Yeah. But all in all, it was not a good performance outside of Artur Shilovs. Shilovs was their best player far and away tonight. A lot of guys looked passively disinterested most of the evening, and against a team like a Sharks or a Blackhawks team or something like that, you can maybe get away with it. Ottawa is a team that's too good to get away with it.
They're hungry too.
Yeah, and the Penguins paid the price.
Yeah, and when you're only putting up 16 shots, when sometimes you're usually putting up like 16 shots, maybe in a period or period and a half. Olmark's back in net. Olmark has won a Vezina. Like you got to give some credit to the goalie at the other end too. He's allowed to make saves. This is a young and spunky group in Ottawa, and they have the playoff aspirations. They finally made the playoffs last year, and they're looking to get back, and the season hasn't gone their way. So, they see a Penguins team maybe coming off of they got 6 wins in a row. They're looking to take advantage of everything they can, and they're physical, they're fast, they have some offensive potency. When like you said, when the Penguins went down, I thought that might be it, but I think I think there was a point in the game where they kind of came back alive and they were buzzing. They've been pretty good with the goalie pulled this year too, compared to, I remember we used to talk sometimes when during the end of the Sullivan era, like, why even pull the goalie at this point? Because they haven't scored with a goalie pulled in, like, it had been like years. But with this team, they're pretty good at hanging on to the puck and keeping it at least interesting with the goalie pulled. So yeah, Shilovs was great, man. I thought that guy, what a great pickup by Dubas. How many times this year have we said that about just about everyone on the roster? Literally
about everybody that is not like Sidney
Crosby. Yeah.
Like, even if you go back to last year, like Tommy Novak obviously is a part of this. I even say like Noel Chari took a while, but he is finally really playing good hockey. Connor Dewar, who we've talked about pretty much endlessly, has been great. Like, literally everybody up and down this roster that has Dubas's fingerprints over it at some point has been having a great season. Like, there's been nobody that they've acquired from him that I would necessarily say is bad.
No, and everyone's like, even the ones that are, maybe kind of, well, I don't know. Yeah, they're playing good, man. Like, the roster's good as it is. I was going to say, it seems that like dude, Ryan Graves is still, I don't know what to say about, like, I'm not trying to put a negative spin on it, but everyone's been good. But you look at a guy like Ryan Shea, who was an original kind of Dubas pickup.
Yeah.
Like, with him, Jari was a re-signing, Erik Karlsson. I feel like, unfortunately, Ryan Graves is like the one guy that's yet to really, like, even under Muse and kind of with a team that's on firing on all cylinders, he's like the only guy that hasn't really been able to be a mainstay in the lineup. Clifton, I thought had a great game tonight too. That guy, it's a shame he's a little undersized, because if that guy had another 4 or 5 inches on him with the way he plays, he's a physical guy out there, and I love seeing him lay the hits. He doesn't back down from anything, so it's a shame that we lost St. Ivany to another surgery. or another injury. He's got surgery on his hand. But yeah, Clifton, I thought looked good. I mean, yeah, this team, man, from Shelovs to the draft picks that have come through and gotten some games in. Yeah, Dubas is. I'm high on Dubas right now. I think it's hard not to be as a Penguins fan.
Yeah, I mean, if you aren't high on Dubas now, it's going to be. I'd like to see what it's going to take for you to get that approval up at this point, because literally everything he's done, especially this past offseason, has been basically a home run. Shelovs, obviously, we talked about him plenty. The Skinner trade has worked out about as well as you could hope. Hiring Dan Muse, that was probably the first move that kind of got this whole entire process started this offseason. Parker Wotherspoon, Anthony Mantha, Tommy Novak was late last season at the trade deadline.
He played like 2-3 games last year?
Yeah, and then he went down for the year. But going back even a little bit further, Rucker McGroarty, the Jake Gensel trade is it's showing positive signs overall. Yeah. I mean, Mantha, Justin Brazeau is in there as well, and the moves he didn't make, not moving on from Rickard Rakell, not moving on from Brian Rust when it would have been very easy to do that. We'll see. You have to think that Evgeny Malkin's extension is hopefully coming here at some point. It sounds like, according to Josh Yohe, Ryan Shea is not going to see free agency come July. It sounds like that is going to be a high priority for the Penguins once the offseason hits. And who knows, maybe we get a little reward here during the Olympic break. Maybe some new deals come down. Blake Lizotte is already under contract for the next 3 years after this one. Connor Dewar is going to be a name to circle. But then you look at a guy like Igor Chinnikov. The latest move has been, I mean, maybe Dean Evason just maybe he's just a bad coach.
Maybe, man. Yeah, I liked him though. I
mean, I don't know how you misuse a guy like all you have to do is get the puck on his stick and he's going to shoot it and he's going to blow by somebody. I don't know what again, Columbus doesn't have a playmaker like Evgeny Malkin necessarily, but they got to have somebody out there that can get that puck on his stick and just let him fire the puck. I mean,
I don't know. They got that Kent Johnson kid early in the draft one year, and that kid was supposed to be like a mini Patty Kane. Like he was supposed to be kind of like a Clayton Keller type, and he's only got like 7 goals or 8 goals on the season. And he I don't know, that Chinnikov. I saw someone say, "Welcome back, James Neal," as like a winger who plays well with Malkin. And I remember, Robbie, we were saying, like, maybe I've been saying it for a long time, and I know we've talked about it on here, like maybe Malkin just needed like a Russian winger, like, to play with sometimes. I didn't know how much stock you put in that, getting a countryman to play with a guy like Malkin, but you gave the example. I mean, all those years with Gonchar, they really clicked, and it helped Malkin come along. You put Igor Chinnikov on a line with Hall of Famer, but he's not in the top 100 players according to ESPN.
Obviously,
right?
Obviously, yeah.
So maybe that isn't going for him. But like, you put him on a line with Evgeny Malkin, I've been saying it, man. He's going to get 25 goals on the year.
Man, it's you have to think that he's going to at least push that number, because every time he's on the ice, he's just scoring, man. Every game, he seems like he's scoring. The shot is wicked. You have a guy like Malkin distributing that puck.
And he's fast, dude. Like, he's actually...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he is quick. He gets behind the defense. And if you're a goaltender, the last guy you probably want bearing down on you is a guy that can shoot the puck like that. You've seen it in the shootout, just blowing it past both goalies he's faced in the shootout. He's been 100% for the Penguins there. But no, I mean, the puck comes off his stick so fast, there's nothing you can really do about it if you're a goalie. If it's accurate, it's going to be behind you before you know it.
Jari's still looking for that puck.
Yeah. He still isn't sure that it bounced out. But no, I mean, the Kyle Dubas, it's definitely, I'd have to think that he's in the mix for Executive of the Year. You have to think that Dan Muse is in the conversation for Coach of the Year.
I feel like that's
And
all that shit's a hoax, dude. I feel like the person who wins it every year, unless it's an absolute consensus, it's a coin flip.
yeah, probably.
It's the same
And
people who vote in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, yeah. But no, I mean, everything that Kyle Dubas is doing right now and has done the last like calendar yearish has been about as perfect as you can get. It's really hard to hit that well on all these moves that you made, and it's really hard to think of one that has been a dud. Even Phil Tomasino, like he is no longer with the team, but he had success in Pittsburgh when they brought him over. Like they are finding success on these buy low candidates, and it really makes you wonder: like, is this the route they take at the trade deadline? And if it is, man, I'm really excited to see maybe what he can pull out of the hat with some of these guys that could potentially be on the trading block as a buy low candidate.
I'm so excited for the trade deadline, and not like I have been in recent years. It's not like when the Penguins were looking to win the cup every year and they were going out and getting the biggest fish that they could land. I see kind of, Robbie, we talk about it on here. We kind of see the pattern that Dubas is kind of following in the way that he's tinkering with the roster. And for nerds like us, hockey nerds like us, I can't wait to see what he pulls out of the hat, because it's going to be. It might not wow you as far as name recognition, but that if you look into it, it's going to be the right piece. It's not going to be a big fish. It's not going to be like they're going out to get Panarin, because that might give them the best chance to get over the hump.
Oh, I don't want Panarin in Pittsburgh.
No, I want him a million miles away from Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
but maybe in past years, like with GM with Rutherford, that's probably a guy. You'd hear the Penguins linked to Panarin all day back in those days.
Yeah,
that would be the type of guy. But the guys that they're looking for this go around, when they're firmly in a playoff spot as of right now, the guys that Dubas will be looking for, probably younger with term, and it's going to be just tinkering around the edges. It's not going to be probably. I hear a lot of people talk about Jason Robertson. I personally am not the biggest fan of Jason Robertson, to be totally honest. A guy like him, I worry when the offense isn't there, when the ice gets, reduced to nothing, no space. If he doesn't bring a whole lot extra. I think that, yeah, he does produce. He produces points. He's kind of like a Mitch Marner or something. Like he might help get you to the playoffs. What he's going to do, I have no idea, but I'm just intrigued more than anything, because it's going to be maybe not the first or second or third name that you'd think of that maybe they'd go for. It's going to be the right fit, I think. Dubas has got a pulse on this team, and the people that he probably, consults with have a good pulse on the team. I think for the first time in a long time, this team feels like a group, like not just a club. They are a group. They all seem to like each other. There's buy-in. They're kind of a family. It's going to be the right piece, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing who that is. Dude, the Olympics get over with, and we're almost right there at the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, there's only like a week, maybe 10 days after they get back that they will the trade deadline will be like right there. I think it is 4 weeks from Friday. So, yeah, it's like 10 days after the season resumes. So yeah, we're going to be right back at it. And like, again, nothing can happen starting Wednesday afternoon. No trades can be made after that.
There's like 2 trade deadlines this year.
Yeah, I don't know how busy the first one will be. I don't know how desperate teams are going to be here in the next roughly 48 hours. But yeah, I definitely think that once, I'm sure there will be some discussion over the break, and maybe it'll cut loose as soon as that freeze lifts at the end of the Olympics. And
over in Milan, there will be deals on napkins written up over some red wine.
Yeah, Crosby be schmoozing up McDavid to come on over.
Come on over.
Yeah, but yeah, so yeah, the Penguins, they do lose this game to Ottawa, have their winning streak snapped at 6 games, but they will get a chance to wash that taste out of their mouth almost immediately as they head on the road for their final 2 games before the break, starting Tuesday night, which is tonight, later tonight as you're listening to this, 7:30 p.m. here on the East Coast. They take on a team that a very big game for a game on February 3rd, a massive Metro Division game against the New York Islanders, who also lost this evening to the Washington Capitals.
Here we are, scoreboard watching in February.
Yeah, this is a big one. This is a huge chance to make a statement before heading into the break here. It would be great to go on to the island and grab 2 against the Islanders. That would be an absolute massive win to carry in. It'd be a massive message sent to the rest of the division, especially the Islanders, who are right there battling the Penguins. So that is Tuesday night, and then Thursday they wrap up their pre-Olympic schedule with a showdown on Lake Erie in Buffalo against a good Sabres team. A Sabres team
now, man.
A Sabres team that is looking like a playoff team, which is hard to say. But yeah, another big game there, which should be fun for the Penguins. So let's hope that they can get some more points here before the break against the Islanders and Sabres. And but yeah, you want the good momentum going in. But right now, if you're a Penguins fan, I think that if they would have told you this is where the Penguins were at the Olympic break back in October, you would have probably thought they were dipping into some illicit activities on the side, because I don't know if I would even bought the Penguins were this comfortable in a playoff spot right at the beginning of February.
Yeah, man, but if you look at the standings, besides the Islanders in that 3rd spot, there's no one in the Metro really nipping at their heels at the moment.
No, I mean, it is, you have a little breathing room now, especially with some games in hand here. You have, it'd be great to grab a couple here.
You can beat the Islanders. That's like when you sit down and you would take that top button off your jeans, you kind of breathe a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, if you can take one against the Islanders, it makes me care a lot less about what happens on Thursday in Buffalo. Because again, your biggest race right now is going to be the top 3 in that division, and being able to get a little more of a cushion over the Islanders while still holding on to your games in hand advantage would be incredibly important. So yeah, here's to getting that done. But we'll be back hopefully after that game tomorrow night later this evening to talk about that one. But yeah, I mean, you have big opportunities before the Olympic break here. Might as well take advantage of them.
Absolutely, man. I'll be curious to see. I hope they bring it these next couple of games. Like, I know that, they're playing back to back on the island, and the Islanders are a good team. And then the Sabres aren't the Sabres they were 2 months ago. This is seemingly a completely different team, just with the same roster. The only thing missing is Kevin Adams isn't up top anymore. It's Jarmo Kekalainen.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what they got, man. The Penguins historically have played the Sabres well, but who hasn't played them well? I don't know, man. If they can nab one of these games, hopefully it would be against the Islanders. But if they can nab one, I'll rest easy. I'll be able to sleep pretty good at night.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think heading into Milano Cortino or whatever is.
Yep, absolutely. So
I think before we hop off here, there's 2 things we got to bring up, and we can just touch on these quickly, Robbie. It's been a while since we've chatted.
Yep.
What do you think of the Russ suspension?
I'm okay with a game, not 3. No history. That obviously suspensions are spinning a wheel. Tom Wilson nearly killed a guy the other night, didn't get anything. No, one game. Yeah, one game. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely clear head contact. Definitely, yeah. I would have been fine with a game for a guy with no history. 3 it felt like way excessive, and apparently the Penguins feel the same way. Apparently there's a lot of angst about that, but no, I was not happy with the 3 games. I thought that was excessive.
I thought it was excessive too. I saw a lot of people giving examples of players that have had no history and they'd gotten 3-game suspensions for similar hits. I don't care. It was the heat of them. It wasn't dirty. He was trying to clear the crease, and yeah, his elbow was out. He was not trying to target Besser's head. I don't know. Guys like Tom Wilson, who have been in like Brad Marchand, they've been so close to being, handed like a 40-game suspension before. Like, it just, it didn't make sense to me. I thought maybe just a game, just to kind of be like, hey, we're going to pay attention to you a little bit more now. So don't do that again. 3 is excessive. So
yeah,
whatever. He comes back tomorrow, right?
Yeah, he'll be available tomorrow night. Yep.
Perfect. They could use him. I'm sure he'll add a good burst of energy to what seems to be kind of a tired squad. The other thing, Robbie, is completely not hockey related, but what did you think about Bill Belichick not being accepted into the Hall of Fame as a first ballot?
Crazy. And yeah, I mean, when I saw that, I was pretty shocked. And again, it just doesn't make any sense. All in all, like I don't know the whole voting process, but it just does not seem as a feasible outcome, given his entire history of winning more Super Bowls than any coach in history.
He's got a couple of, cheating scandals, but still, all the Super Bowls. You think someone out there just had it out for him? You think that maybe a group of guys on that committee were like, just screw this dude?
I mean, you could sell me on that, at least for a year. I definitely think. But if he doesn't make it next year, then I'm definitely going to think that there's some kind of
like a conspiracy.
Some kind of conspiracy. But I mean, I was shocked. I could not buy that.
Does Tomlin get in first ballot?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if Bill Belichick can't get in the first ballot, which other coach can you argue gets in on the first ballot? So yeah, I'm not going to say yes to that question because right now, I unless something changes with how the voting's done, it seems like there's no guarantees for anyone.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Those Hall of Fame committees are a mystery. I'd love to be a fly on the wall for their process.
Oh yeah, that would be. I'd love to just sit on one of their meetings just to see how that process and the discussions they have.
I know, because sometimes it just leaves you questioning. So,
it
doesn't even matter which Hall of Fame it is: baseball, football, NHL. Like it just seems like it's a cloak and daggers type community, and there is a lot of secrets to their methods and stuff. Well, yeah, Robbie, we'll talk probably tomorrow.
Yeah, Penguins. We
got a couple more games before Milano Cortino, as they're calling it. Are we going to cover some Olympics?
Oh yeah, we're going to have like 3 weeks of nothing to do, so we're going to have to talk about something. So we're definitely going to sit down and talk what's going on over there. Maybe some mailbags, maybe some other topics, and maybe some trade deadline talk. Obviously, since it'll be right when they get back. So yeah, definitely have a lot to talk about, even with no Penguins hockey.
I'm ready for it, man. But that's all I really got for today, man.
All right, man. So yeah, Penguins, they lose this game against Ottawa, but they were coming in on a 6-game win streak. So get it back tonight against the New York Islanders, and all will be forgiven. So yeah, we'll be back to talk about that one. So everybody, you guys have a good night. Hopefully you're staying warm wherever you're at. But for Snail, I'm Robbie. We'll talk to you guys later this evening when the Penguins take on the Islanders.